Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Women's AM. We'll be looking at a very interesting topic on the troubles of uni. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Women's AM, the show made for Muslim women, and we are here live in London to give to you a jam-packed morning show full of feature stories, dynamic discussions, competitions, and so much more. I have my wonderful team of panelists here, Liz and Ayan, and we have a special guest today, Sister Carmilla Khan from FOSIS. Assalamu alaikum, you guys. How are you doing this morning?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Looking very beautiful and pink and whatnot. Alhamdulillah. I came across this really interesting page on the internet, which is entitled "Which of these kitchen appliances best describes you?" Which is a really funny way of introducing yourself and showing your personalities. I'm just going to read through them, and you're going to tell me exactly which appliance suits your personality better. So we've got the crock pot first. Likes to take your time, tends to be slow, but methodical and precise, and often overdoes things, good at moderation.
Oh, I'm not.
Yay or nay? No. Refrigerator, on the cold side, good at taking care of things, reliable and sturdy, but often in the way, good at keeping their cool. No?
Maybe, but not good at keeping my cool.
No? Okay, so you're not really a fridge. That's very much, mashallah. Electric skillet, very handy and versatile, good to have around, even-tempered, can handle a lot of tasks in a small amount of time. Yeah. Electric skillet, okay. Toaster oven, extremely versatile and multifaceted, often overlooked and underappreciated. I think we can agree there. Can handle a variety of situations, likes doing things their own way.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
That sounds like you? Okay, the coffee pot, always a welcome sight. People love having you around. Do not feel right when you're not there. A morning person, good at invigorating and motivating others.
Oh, this is me, of course.
That's so you, mashallah. And the juicer is, the last one is the juicer. Extremely versatile, all of them are versatile. Can come up with things that really surprises others. Can be messy though, very mindful of health and nutrition.
I think the last bit would apply to me when it comes to my son.
I think that, it applies to me a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So we've got not much of a fridge, electric skillet, half juicer, and toaster oven.
What about you?
I think I'm a juicer.
You're a juicer.
Alhamdulillah. Well, we'll now go to our first segment of the morning news bites. In this segment, we take a look at a variety of stories within the media. So let's look at our first selection of articles. I'm going to first start with Liz.
My first article is from the Daily Mail. The headline reads, "Jealous actress jailed for 7 years for using her car as a weapon to mow down her ex-boyfriend and his new partner at 30 miles an hour." So obviously a horrific story of actions of one lady fueled by jealousy and rage, as the judge explained. I think the most devastating thing about this story, obviously two people, they sustained these substantial injuries. Fortunately, they have made a full recovery, but it must have been a shocking experience for them. And he's the father of her child. So, this poor kid, his mum is now, jailed for 7 years, and the father's gone through this unpleasant experience. It did kind of just make me think about, the Islamic framework for dealing with things, and obviously even these kinds of situations. This all came out of a love triangle, and the guy was kind of seems flitting between the two women, and
it's a child I feel really sorry for, because it's one thing to not have your parents at home as well together, but then when your mother's in jail for wanting to attack your father, it will affect the child later on, isn't it?
Absolutely.
In a very negative way. Okay. Sister Ayan?
Also from the Daily Mail. A heartbroken daughter reveals how she discovered her parents' dark secret after father shot dead his first wife and 2 stepsons, and mum murdered ex-husband in his sleep. So this is a story of this woman who's now 41 years old, who not too long ago found out that both her parents were murderers, unfortunately. Her mother murdered her previous husband in his sleep. She alleged that he was quite an abusive man, and that was the only way for her to get away. And her father murdered his ex-wife and 2 stepsons, which he adopted because basically she became unbearable. And they both got together in 1980, and it's been a well-kept secret for quite a long time. And I think it's really devastating to find something out like that about your parents, because she said that she grew up, having a very, very happy childhood, a very good childhood, and that despite what they've done, even though it's really shocking, she said she still loves them, which I can understand. Obviously, she's not experienced a bad childhood with them, but it's really...
to find that out, she was, what, 41 years old, isn't
yeah,
it?
41, yeah. It's really scary, and then you kind of have to wonder, like, did they know this about each other when they got married, the mother and the father? Because it doesn't really say in the article, so I don't know.
We can make the assumption that maybe they didn't necessarily know, to be honest with you.
It's just funny how people like that are drawn
to
together.
each other.
You see this a lot, with couples that kill, don't you?
Yeah.
It's very
like a Bonnie and
sad.
Clyde thing, which is, quite interesting. But obviously, she's been able to sort of forgive her parents, and that's fantastic. Alhamdulillah. And this, we've got a story from you as well.
This one's from the Independent. Went for a broadsheet this time. This headline reads, Apprentice winner Leah Totton opens her first cosmetic surgery clinic with a little help from Lord Sugar and Karen Brady. So this is obviously talking about the winner of the last year's Apprentice. I don't know if any of you guys
I think I took a snippet at it, yeah.
I love that show, yeah. She was obviously the winner, and her bid was to open this cosmetic surgery clinic, or, series of clinics throughout the country, and she's going to specialise in the kind of procedures that you can maybe get done in your lunch break. Now, throughout the article, the kind of buzzwords are, safety and health, and, the sort of ethical issues that are sometimes linked with these kind of procedures. She talked about, she wouldn't do it on teenagers and that kind of thing. I don't know, I always feel a bit uneasy about these kinds of industries that basically make their money on the back of how bad can they make us all feel about ourselves, that we need to go and have a 25-minute express facial during our lunch break, and, pay heavily to do so.
SubhanAllah, how long can you even do these things? Like, a lunch break is like 1 hour, but what do you think about this, Sister Carmilla? Do you... the fact that she's gone into a very popular landmark show and has come out having her money invested into something that may not necessarily be ethical.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I remember even in the actual show, like, they made a massive deal out of it, and they were acting like she wasn't going to win it because there was these apprehensions about, like, the moral and ethical stance on it. But I think at the end of the day, it's about what makes money, and that's the stance that she was coming at it from. And I think the entire Apprentice show is kind of built on, like, that model of what can you do to make the most money, and I think that's where this comes into it as well.
I completely agree, actually, because you always got the feeling that was always being mentioned just to show, yes, we have considered this, but actually it's going to be quite lucrative, so we're going to do it anyway.
SubhanAllah. Well, Ayan, you've got another story that's interesting as well.
This is from The Independent. British expat banker Anton Casey causes uproar in Singapore after mocking poor people, calling a taxi driver a retard. So this man has been making really offensive tweets about the local people in the country which he lives in. Now, he's married to a former Miss Singapore. They have a son, and he's been tweeting things like, comments made by his son, apparently made by his son, saying, Daddy, why are we in this train with all these poor people? And things like, finally, with a picture of himself in his Porsche, saying, finally with my baby, I can finally go home and wash off the stench of public transport. And just really offensive remarks. And I just thought to myself, this guy has got some gall to make comments like that about a country which, effectively, he's a guest in it, And to talk about the local people in such a way, it shows that, first, he's got no respect for the country that he lives in. He's got no respect for his wife either, because this is her homeland. And another thing that I found quite funny was that you get a lot of people who make these really stupid comments on Twitter and other social media, and they only realise how wrong they are after people have reacted really badly to what they've said.
This is the thing, isn't it? It's like this. We have this sort of instantaneous culture. We do things on the urge of it, and then once we've done it, it's like, oh my God, I've done something really sad. But what really concerns me about this story is the fact that the child said, "Oh, Daddy, these poor people," he's already made an assumption about people he doesn't know. So that's really worrying, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I find that I kind of question with this is that, was it really just impulsiveness, or was it arrogance? Because you get a lot of people who are now behaving in such a way. You've got so many stories of people who made really, you know, bad comments on Twitter and other things, who then go back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," after, you know, people have said, "Oh, what you said was really out of line." And, you know, is it because, you know, now we live in an age where, you know, instant gratification is the thing? You know, we can do everything instantly, make comments instantly, send letters instantly. Everything is very, very instant, and we don't actually stop to think about the consequences of what we're doing. So
And the consequences are
probably
massive,
trying
aren't
to
they?
provoke a reaction as well.
This
Maybe,
is it.
yeah. Because I think a
this
lot
is
of the time people use these platforms to kind of gain fame, like, you know, the Katie Hopkins kind of like thing. And I think he's probably trying to buy into that.
Yeah, because that's it, you say it and it's out there, you know, like for millions of people essentially to read.
And the repercussions are essentially irreversible, aren't they? I think that's the big danger, is that when you put something like that out there, it's really dangerous, subhanAllah. Well, Sister Liz, we've got the last, one of the last articles.
Yeah, the final story from myself this morning is actually from the Metro, and the headline reads, a £60 fine if your child is late at school.
Wow.
And this is the extremely strict regime that has been introduced. I believe there's only three primary schools that are actually doing it at the moment. But, you know, even if your child is a few minutes late, you get issued with this £60 fine.
All these schools are in Milton Keynes, I believe.
Milton Keynes, that's right, yeah. And if you don't pay within 21 days, then it's doubled, so you have to pay £120. And I just think it doesn't address the problem. It doesn't address, you know, the issue. You know, if a child is continuously late to school, you know, I used to actually work for a charity that dealt with, you know, education and social welfare issues, and we would look at exactly things like this. 9 times out of 10, you found if a child was late to school, it could be something simple like they have no money, they don't have an alarm clock. It could be something simple like, you know, the parents worked funny shifts, they weren't there to get them up or help them with breakfast or something like that.
Or other kids as well.
Exactly. So there's actually ways that you can deal with these issues without making parents who are already overstretched and certainly financially overstretched, you know, having to pay these fines and feeling bad about the situation. You feel like it's just a money-making scheme.
Definitely, and it's, you know, I mean, it's something that hopefully we probably won't see, because maybe, you know, I think there'll be a lot of uproar as well, but we'll see how that goes, isn't it, inshallah. And Ayan, we've got the last article for you.
Yeah, this is from The Guardian. Getting enough sleep is a forgotten art. The desire to lean in at work must occasionally be superseded by the need to keel over. A nap isn't always bad. So this is sort of talking about the fact that people are working such long hours, and it's necessary for them to take a bit of a nap to kind of rejuvenate themselves so that they can get work done. And it's quite funny because the woman who wrote this article, Emma Brox, she made references to police officers who've been caught sleeping on the job, and the sort of typical cliches of, you know, them sort of taking time off from doing their work to go to get donuts or to get coffee or some such ridiculous thing, and just kind of reiterating that, you know, it could be a class thing as well. She was talking about Margaret Thatcher, who only got about 4 hours of sleep, and then Winston Churchill, who had naps during the day. So it's quite funny. She talked about a lot of different things, and she said that the way that things are going nowadays is that it's seen by employers as time theft if you're caught napping on the job.
Theft.
Yeah, I know.
Is there not a better word they could have come up with?
Time theft, yes. It's like, you're on my watch, you know, you should be fully alert. But the thing is that it's really, really hard. You know, if you're working a very stressful job, and especially if you're working long hours, sleep isn't always easy.
You do need that break, and it is actually a part of the sunnah to sleep in the afternoon as well, but whether or not that will be implemented across the board is another thing entirely. Well, barakallah feek for that, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, we've had an interesting start to the show, and we're off for a short break now.